Hello and welcome back to Mr. Pepper's Construction Technology class. Today we are going to be going over how to build this picnic table within the Onshape program. This video we're going to be going over all of the specific parts and pieces of the picnic table and how to construct them. The second video of this series will be how to assemble all of the pieces. So today we're just going over the 6 pieces that are made up within this structure, and then the next video will go over how to assemble everything together. Everyone should have a copy of the picnic table plans. It's available on our Canvas course. If not, please shoot me an email and I will send you a direct link. But if you scroll through here, it gives you all the information that you need on how to make all the appropriate size parts and pieces of the picnic table. So today, let's go ahead and jump in and get into Onshape. Once we're in Onshape, we're going to go to the top left-hand corner and hit the Create button like we did on making our birdhouse. So click Create, and we're going to create a document. For myself today, I'm going to call this Mr. Pepper's Picnic Table. Simple enough. And we'll hit Create. Alright, now that we've got our sketch opened, or our document opened, we can go ahead and start working on all of our parts of the picnic table. When you open up the picnic table plans, you'll notice this chart right here that labels out all the parts that we're going to be drawing today. You'll notice at the beginning of the video I said that we were making 6 parts, but there are 7 parts listed within this chart. The reason why that there is a discrepancy there is the seat that is made from a 2x6 and is 6 foot long is also the same as the tabletop 2x6s that are also 6 foot long. Okay, so that's why we're only going to be making 6 parts in today's video. Let's go ahead and start off with the tabletop. The tabletop will be made of a 2x6 that is 6 foot long. Simple enough. So we can see that here in our drawing. It's several 2x6s that are put together. Same thing for both of our seats. So let's go ahead and open up our Onshape. Almost all the pieces that we're drawing today will start in the front view plane. Only one will be in the right. I will specify that one when we get to it. But let's go ahead and start here in the front. We're going to click the front view plane and highlight it in orange, and then we're going to come up to the top left and hit Sketch. That should open a new sketch window for you, labeled as Sketch 1. On the top right, I like to click on my viewfinder to the front view. Now I can see straight on to what I'm drawing. I will be doing this for almost every single part, so if I speed through it, this is how I got to this point. For making all of my shapes, I'm always going to start off the same way today. We're going to use the center point rectangle tool. So click the rectangle drop-down menu right here, and then click center point rectangle. Once you've selected that tool, you can now draw any size rectangle that you'd like. Click at random, and notice how this bottom number is highlighted automatically. I do not need to click on this. I'm going to go ahead and make that 5.5 inches wide, because it is made of a 2x6. Alright, so it's going to be 5.5 inches by 1.5 inches. We'll come back to this 6 foot in just a moment. So, with this number highlighted, I'm going to type in 5.5 and hit enter. Notice how it automatically adjusted, and now it highlighted the next number. That number is going to be 1.5 inches. Now, that's all the sketching that we have to do for this part. So, after we're done with all of our sketches, we use this tool. This is the extrude tool in the top left-hand corner. We're going to click on that, and it will change our shape to this kind of gray color. But it's hard to see what's happening. So I click on my viewfinder on the top right-hand corner and hit that corner on there. Now I can see what's happening. Okay, this gives me a much better idea of what's going on. So keep in mind, what size is this piece? We've already got the 1.5 inches by the 5.5 inches. This is where our length comes in. So we're going to go ahead and make this 6 foot long. But notice how this is only in inches, so we need to convert the 6 foot to inches. So 6 times 12, that's 72. Okay, type in 72 and hit enter. Okay, see how that automatically drew it out? Notice how I was able to see that. If I was still in the front view, I wouldn't see anything different no matter what that depth was. So that's why I always rotate the view. Once you're done with your extrusion, you'll hit the check mark, and congratulations, you've completed your first part. Now that I've finished making my part, I'm going to come down here to the Part Studio tab, and I'm going to go ahead and right click it. I'm going to come up to rename, and I'm going to label that piece as Table Top. Okay, so now that I've got that piece, I'm ready to move on to my next. To move on to my next piece, we're going to come down here to Insert, New Tab, hit the plus sign. Then we're going to click Create Part Studio, and that will open up a new Part Studio for us. On our list, let's keep going down. So our next part that we need to create is the batten. That's made with a 2x4. So the actual measurements are 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Note that it says that it is 2 foot 2 foot 4.5 inches long. But that doesn't give me all the description that I need for this piece. So let's scroll down on our plans to where the batten is. So now I can see that 2 foot 4.5 is the outside point to outside point measurement on this. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to our drawing. We're going to select the front view plane, and then we're going to hit sketch. Keep in mind, I'm not going to walk you through this every time, so be taking note of how we're doing this. And we're going to rotate to our front view, and then we're going to start by using our center point rectangle. Click at the center, and pull out any size rectangle. Remember how we had that 2 foot 4.5 inches? We need to convert that into only inches. So 2 foot converts into 24 inches. Plus 4.5, that's 28 1/2 of an inch. So let's go ahead and type that in, 28.5, and hit enter. Now keep in mind that 2x4 is not actually a 2 inch by 4 inch piece. It is only 3.5 inches tall. So for this height, we're going to type in 3.5 and hit enter. On our drawing here, we don't have any fancy angles, we just have the measurement. That is 2 inches from each corner. So if we come back to our drawing and click the line tool up here on the top left, the line tool, we're going to click on the bottom left hand corner and pull a line over to the right. You see how that number is highlighted once again? We're going to type in 2 inches. Then you see how you still got your line coming off of there. You're going to come up to the top, click, and now you've created that angle there. Quickly do the same thing on the other side. 2 inches, reconnect. Now we're ready to delete all of our excess lines before extruding. So let's go and delete off our left side, our right side, and this one. Oh, that deleted off the whole bottom. Don't worry, this happens. All you have to do is go back up to the top, grab your line tool, and reconnect the lines. From this point, you just extrude it. Remember to rotate your view so you see what's happening. This board was a 2x4. We already used the 4 inch dimension, so that means we need to use the 2 inch dimension, which in reality is only 1.5 inches. So we're going to type in 1.5 for our depth, hit enter, and now we've done that part. Come down here, rename. We're going to call this one the batten. Now that we've drawn the batten, we can now move on to the third item on our list. So we need to make our legs, which are made out of 2x6 boards that are 3 foot in overall length. Keep in mind I said overall because the legs have angle cuts on the ends. This is the diagram that lays all of that out. So let's go ahead and go back to our drawing. We're going to come down, create a new tab, new Part Studio, click the front view, click Sketch, and now we're ready to sketch our drawing. How do we do our drawing again? Center point rectangle. Okay, draw your rectangle any random size. Let's reference our sizes. So it's 3 foot, so that is 36 inches, and then it is this 6-inch dimension this way, so it is actually 5.5 inches. So we're going to type in 36 inches, and then notice how the other one is highlighted off here on the side. Type in 5.5 and hit enter. Now here's where things are going to start to get complicated. Note how this did give us the degree angle on here. Let's go ahead and go through this because we're going to use it 1 or 2 more times throughout this project. So that's going to be a 30-degree angle coming up from the bottom right and coming down from the top left. So all we're going to do is we're going to grab our line tool on the top left-hand corner, click, and just roughly make a line. Notice how I didn't get the exact degree on that. That will come here in just a second. Now we'll do that on the right side. And there we go. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use this point tool and click on the vertex of our angle. Okay, we're going to do the top left and then the bottom right. Notice how those are now a different color. They've got a white dot in there. After you've done that, you're going to come over here to the dimension tool. I know on most of your screens the dimension tool is further to the right, usually somewhere in this area. But it is this tool right here, has 2 lines with arrows in between. What you're going to do is you're going to click the vertical line of the rectangle, and then you're going to click the angled line that you are trying to create. Notice how that automatically pops up an angle. You're going to pull it either down or up for today's drawings. Up will result in somewhat of a semicircle shape or an almost full circle shape. What I want you to do is pull it down to this angle, to where it makes a pizza looking shape. Click anywhere that you like. Notice how it makes the pizza shape. Slice of pizza. Alright. For this angle, remember it is going to be 30 degrees. Okay, so let's go in here. We're going to type in 30 and hit enter. Then we'll use the dimension tool again. Click our 2 lines. Notice how I'm pulling up on this one to get my pizza slice. And we're going to type in 30 and hit enter. Now all we need to do is delete off our extra lines. Yes, the backspace tool can work as your delete tool. Do not be afraid. Okay, from this point, I just use my line tool again. Reconnect those. Reconnect the bottom. Once I've done that, I've recompleted my shape and I'm ready to extrude. Notice how it already starts extruding for me. Our extrusion depth on this one is going to be 1.5 inches because this is made out of a 2x6. Click the check mark. Let's edit the Part Studio name. This one is the leg. Our next part that we're going to be drawing is the seat support, which is made out of a 2x6. They are 5 foot long. Okay, this is the seat support. Notice how it is supporting the seats. Alright, fairly simple terminology here today. In our drawings, this is how we have the 2x6 seat support drawn. Notice how the table is upside down, so when we actually draw this into the Onshape program, it will be flipped the opposite way. On the ends, we have a 30-degree angle cut. Alright, we're going to do that just the same as we did the legs. So, let's jump into it. Okay, come down to the bottom, create a new Part Studio. Once again, we're going to be in the front view plane, sketch, and rotate to the front view. We're going to use our center point rectangle, draw it any random size, and it's going to be 5 foot long, so that is going to be 5 times 12, That's 60. Okay, type in 60, and for this dimension it's going to be 5.5 because it's made with a 2x6. And now we can rough in our angles. Okay, so remember, this drawing is upside down. So I'm going to draw it the correct way to make my life easier later for the assembly process. Draw that line there, or draw another one over on this side. To get those lined up, remember, we're going to use our point tool to define the pointed corners. So we're going to do top right and top left. Then we'll move on to the dimension tool. Click the vertical line, the line that we're measuring. Type in 30 degrees. Same thing on the right side. Make sure that you're making your slice of pizza. Type in 30, and we're ready to rock and roll. Now I just need to delete off all of our extra lines and reconnect that bottom. We're going to rotate our view. Now we're ready to extrude. Once again, this was made with a 2x6, so the depth of extrusion is again 1.5 inches. Check mark when you're done, and we will label this one seat support. Next on our part list is supposed to be the brace made out of a 2x4. This is the most complicated piece that we're going to be drawing today, so we will leave that for last. The seat, we have already drawn those pieces. Those were our first pieces. They were the same as the top. So let's go ahead and skip on down to the cleat that goes on the bottom side of the seats. Notice how this one is oriented flat. Okay? The length on this one is going to be 11.25, made with a 2x4. Let's go ahead and scroll down to the drawing on that one. Okay, so this is our drawing for the cleat. It goes on the bottom side of the seats, and it will have a 30-degree bevel cut on both of the ends. So let's go and open a new part studio. So click front view, click sketch, and then hit the front on your viewfinder. Use a center point rectangle, any random size, and remember that was 11.25. Right, 11.25 is the length of that piece. So we'll type in 11.25 and hit enter. And keep in mind this one is also oriented in the flat orientation, so it is only 1.5 inches tall. Okay, then we rinse and repeat. Same thing with our angles. Draw our line there. Draw another one over here. We're going to use our point tool to find our top 2 points. I got off there. Notice how both my points are now white. Okay, then we're going to use our dimension tool. Pick our 2 lines. Make our pizza shape. Type in 30 and hit enter. Rinse and repeat for the right side. Type in 30. Now we delete off all of our excess lines. We'll reconnect the bottom in just a second. And then we'll be ready to extrude. Okay. Now this extrusion is different than the rest. This one is actually extruded to 3.5 inches. As remember, it's made out of a 2x4, and we've already used that 2-inch or 1.5 inch dimension for the vertical. So our depth of this extrusion is 3.5. We'll hit enter, and we're ready to go for that. Make sure to name your part. This one is the cleat. Okay, now we're going to move on to the last and most complicated part of the entire project. Okay, that part is going to be the brace that goes underneath here. The brace is made out of a 2x4. Our length is specified here, but there are 2 things that make this complicated. The first is that, hey, it's got the angles again. But then on only one end of the board, we need to create this little cutout, this notch right here. That is what makes this one difficult. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go create a new part studio. In this part studio, I want you to pause. This is the one that's different. All right, once again, this is the one that's different. So we're going to click this one in the right view plane. Again, the right view plane. All right, do not mess this up. Okay, we're going to hit sketch. And then we're going to click the right view on our viewfinder. We're going to draw our center point rectangle. And now let's double check our sizes. Okay, so this one is going to be 2 foot 10 and 1/8. So 2 foot is 24 inches. Add the 10, that's 34 and 1/8. Okay, so 34.125. Hit enter, and then our other side is going to be 3.5. Sorry, you probably can't see that. 3.5, hit enter, and now we're ready to go. Now from this point, let's double check our angles. Notice how these ones are parallel just like the legs. So let's rough in our angles on both sides. Yeah, now these angles are different. Alright, these angles are a 24-degree angle. Alright, take note of that. That's 24 degrees. So when we come over here, we'll put our point tools, our point on the top left and the bottom right. Okay, top left, bottom right on this one. Come up here to our dimension tool. On those two lines, pull out our pizza slice. We're going to type in 24. Alright, 24 degrees on that one. Same thing over here. Click on our two lines, pull out our pizza slice, and that's 24 degrees. Okay, let's go ahead and delete off our extra lines here. Okay, let's try and keep this clean. So delete that, there and there. Okay, let's reconnect our lines. All right. Now we are ready to go ahead and do our notch. Alright, remember the notch is only on one side. Across the top it is 13/16, and down the side it is 5/16. Okay? 13/16 represented as a decimal for our program is going to be represented as 0.8125. But notice how I'm clicking here, I'm dragging a line to the right. Once I've done that, I'm going to type in that measurement, 0.8125. And I'm going to leave that for a second. 0.8125 is your measurement. Go ahead and hit enter. Okay, it will round up a little bit. Don't worry about that. Next, we're going to do our other measurement. That's the 5/16. So, we got our line again. 5/16 in decimal form is 0.3125. Okay, so we're going to click back down here. 0.3125. Again, 0.3125. Hit enter. Now that we've got both sides established, we can go ahead and connect those two lines together. Alright? Easy enough to think that we're done, but we're not. Not just yet. We still need to delete off this line here. Then we need to delete off these lines over here. Don't worry about deleting that point. It's fine where it is. Go ahead and reconnect your line here. And reconnect your line across the top. This is all that you need for this sketch. Alright, that's all that you need is to put that notch on that one side. Now we're going to do our last step, which is to extrude. This extrusion is going to be 1.5 inches. Okay, 1.5. Hit the check mark, And this, once again, is known as our brace. So let's go down here, edit the name, type in brace. Alright, now we can go through and count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. Alright, 6 parts to make up your picnic table. That is in line with our cut list. Because remember, the seat 2x6s and the tabletop 2x6s are the same size and shape. Okay, so we don't need to recreate that part. Alright, congratulations, that is all the parts that we are making in this video. We'll cover how to assemble everything in the next one. Alright, y'all take care and be safe.